You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Sit back and enjoy the soothing sounds of Paul Apostolakis, Salvatore Kuzmano, and Brad Weisgerber. How's everybody doing today? I think I'm going to do that from now on.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's
You're
different.
just going to repeat the intro with a different spin on it?
Shut up, Brad. By the way,
That's what you did.
Brad looks amazing. I mean, for people that are watching right now, Brad, look, this is the best you've ever. He got a haircut
Best
yesterday.
it ever looked?
Ever. Of all time.
All right.
Today we have a very special
We'll go out on
show.
that note.
We have Gogo Bethke. Am I saying that right?
Yep,
All
you
right.
did.
Gogo is part of EXP. She's got a big team. She does a lot of good work with social. I mean, she's a social maven would be the word I'd use, right? Is that a good word?
What does Maven
I don't
mean?
even know. I think it just
Maven is
sounded-
like a master.
Oh,
There we
God.
go.
Thanks for
There we
translating.
go. No idea what I meant, but it sounded good.
Big words.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk to Gogo about all the things that she does. She's done a really good job building a brand, which I think is kind of a big deal in our business. I don't think, we talk about it a lot. We've had a lot of people come in here talking about brand, but I don't think anybody's done it as well, I think, as you that I've seen in our local market. So you've done a really good job. So I want to talk to you
Thank
about
you.
that. I want to talk to you about your business model, EXP, and I know you went over to EXP from KW, so we'll talk a little bit about that. I do also want to talk a little bit about tariffs today, if we can get to it. There's some thoughts I have about that and kind of the effects. Why are you laughing? Tariffs are funny.
I mean, you always want to bring politics into it.
I'm not bringing. That's
You know, I don't have
economics.
cable, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You don't have cable?
No.
Interesting.
No, I turned it off about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I did it for a few reasons. The idea was that my boys, I wanted them to have a childhood, and I felt like I wanted to know the news, but I didn't want to watch it in front of them. So then I ended up putting them to bed and watching it late at night, and then I realized every night I'm going to bed with all these negative thoughts.
Super
and
depressing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
depressing.
News
So I
is
was like,
not
you know
fun
what,
to
I'm
watch,
done.
yeah.
So most of the time I have truly no idea what's going on in the world. I just live my cute little bubble, and everything is pink and perfect.
I mean, there's not.
Pink
it's not a
and perfect.
Pink and perfect. I mean, Brad's wearing pink today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
and
we
Brad
live in a
must live in the
perfect
same world, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So obviously, we talk all the time about how this industry is multifaceted, and there's so many different ways to be successful at this business. You can do foreclosures, you can do new construction, whatever it may be. You made a choice, and I've been watching you for a little while. You really utilize social media pretty early on. You do a lot of it, and you do it well. So talk to me about what caused you to kind of go down that path originally, and what your thought process is on how to build that, because it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of consistency. We talk about that. You can't just do it once and be like, oh, I'm on social all of a sudden.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna post and wait for the leads to come in.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, right? So talk to us about kind of your mentality when you got started. Well, first of all, let's go back a little bit. How did you get into the business? Let's go there.
So I got my license in 2011. My neighbor at the time, or she still is, the marketing director for Capital Title.
Okay.
And I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. When my second boy was born, we almost lost him at 9 weeks. So I was kind of forced into that stay-at-home mom situation.
Wow, okay.
And I never, it was not something I'm like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. My mom always worked. There was never even crossed my mind. So I stayed home for about a good 2 years, I think, and I was slowly losing my marbles. And
my wife
I
did the
needed,
same.
I needed something.
Yeah.
I needed to put makeup on. I needed to leave the house. I needed to have an adult conversation. I needed to feel like I contribute to this family, not just spend money on groceries. And I do a load of laundry and the house is clean. Okay, I feel like I'm, worth something. So my neighbor came to me and she's like, you're so social. You would be so good as a realtor. She goes, I already talked to the broker. Go talk to him. Here's her number. So I was like, I watch HGTV. I can do this.
Easy. Yeah, it's gonna be easy, right?
Exactly. So then I was like, okay. So I went. It was Real Estate One. Mary was her name. I went and talked to her, and she says, if you pass your license, I'll pay for it. I was like, okay. So I invested $199.
Yeah, think about that. That's the barrier of entry, by the way, people.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's $200 really. And I passed first round. So at my first closing, they paid me back. So my school loan is paid.
That's awesome.
By Real Estate One. So I worked with them for about 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really well. And all my business always came from social media. And to be honest with you, at first, nobody really appreciated it. They used to make fun of me.
Everybody
They were
makes fun of you.
Yeah.
That's what happens. when you
Yeah,
try
they
and
were like,
socially
are you
appear-
seriously going to take another photo, Gogo?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me
Yeah,
right now?
right.
And they were like, I don't want to be tagged. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
then don't get in the photo. Like,
Right.
what do I care?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it started like that. I used to be made, not necessarily made fun of, because I don't really care what people think. Truly, to be on video or camera as much as I am.
You've got to put yourself out there.
You
got to
just
be prepared
have to
for
get
it.
over
Yeah,
of like who thinks what.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody cuts a check and pays for my mortgage, then I'm going to start caring
Right,
about what they think. But
a lot of people can't get over that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will say, I don't want to do social. We were in a meeting the other day at a place, and these guys were like, okay, it was all about social media. And these guys were like, well, I don't want to be out there. I don't want people from a high school calling me or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
What do you mean?
I don't want someone to
It
call
is
me that I can do business
uncomfortable,
with.
though. Like, for example, at that Real Producers Party, they're like, we're going to do a snip. We're just going to ask you like 3 questions, right? And I'm sitting there. They're grilling me, and I just, in my head, I'm like, man, that was so terrible.
Salvatore came out and goes,
Yeah,
I bombed it, man. I bombed it. Yeah.
But you put yourself out there, right?
yeah. And
like,
just like you yesterday, you asked me, like, is there anything you don't want to talk about? I'm like,
You're an open
no.
book. Yeah,
No,
you're so
really
good
don't
with it.
have. I don't have any, but you have to be like, if you hide anything, eventually it's going to come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't, if you decide to take the route of social media and your life is out there, I mean, there are certain things I don't do. You know, I don't know if you ever noticed, I'm pretty much after 3 o'clock, I'm cut off.
Yeah.
I work from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
As soon as I pick up my kids, my day is over.
That's it. But you pack in
very
a lot of
seldom-
stuff in that period of time.
yeah,
There's
like
a lot of content.
15 videos in like,
Yeah.
4 hours of the day. Yeah, but so back to how I started. So I stayed with Real Estate One until last year, February. And then by that time, I probably had 20-some thousand followers, most of which are agents.
Yeah.
And KW came to me. And through the years, I was recruited many, many times. And I had it so good at Real Estate One. And I truly I was the baby.
Yeah.
So I could get away with murder and, do whatever
They
I
took
really
care of you.
wanted. Yeah. And so I had no reason. I had a very, very good cut with them. And I had zero reason of leaving. But when KW came to me and talked to me about profit share, I was like, ooh, okay, I'm leaving money on the table. Like, I know I can recruit, and I'm not that I'm a recruiter. It's not. I don't make phone calls every day from 10 to 11 of recruiting agent. That's not how it works. But I do have a reach.
Yeah.
And I figured, I'm like, okay, this is money that I don't have to roll out of bed.
Yeah.
This is something that I can make passive income. And so February of last year, I switched over to KW.
Got it.
And I was with them until November of last year, because as soon as you start figuring things out, then you realize there's something else out there that may even be better.
Right.
And so then EXP came to me. So through the last 3 years, quite a few agents talked to me about EXP, but nobody was able to explain me the model or actually show me how you can do it until I ended up talking with Kurt and Mark. And they were able to show me the real numbers. I was like, okay.
And by Mark, you mean Mark Z.
Mark Z,
Because you've been working with him quite a bit lately. It seems like.
Yeah. So I am. So the way EXP works, you have to have a sponsor in order to join the company. So my sponsor is Kurt. I call Cheval, but I think he pronounces it Shewell. Sorry if I murdered
By the
it.
way, your accent's Southern, right? You're from.
Yes, I'm from Mississippi. Yep. Just over the big pond. Like,
I was like,
no.
what? I thought that was serious.
Where are you from originally?
No, I'm from Transylvania, part of Romania now, so I'm Hungarian by nationality.
Got it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you come over to the States?
2003.
Yeah. So
Now that's a fun story if you haven't
yeah,
seen
let's
it.
let's talk about the story. How did you get over
You
here?
haven't seen my video. So I grew up in communism, and in 1989, I was born in 81. In 89 is when the communism fell, and so we finally had access to Western side of the world and color TV and not censored television and all that. So up until 1989, I had no idea that black people existed. Like nothing but white.
No,
I mean,
you had no idea.
our diversity is white or white. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when the borders are closed down and when your news is censored and your TV is
everything's
censored,
controlled, yeah.
everything's controlled. So you don't have a way
almost
of
like
knowing.
brainwashing. It's brainwashing,
Exactly.
yeah.
You don't have a way of knowing. So I remember in 89, my dad bought a color television and bought a VCR player, and we were watching The 48 Hours by Eddie Murphy. And I thought he was the funniest
Well, he was back then.
person I've
He's that
ever
funny
seen. And
anymore,
I
yeah.
remember, like, I was 8. I remember being glued to the television, and I was like, I don't know who he is. I don't know where he is as a little 8-year-old. That's my first recollection of deciding for myself, one day I'm going to live where that guy lives.
Wow.
And, of course, I had no idea where he lives at the time.
So
Like,
48 hours.
the 48 hours is, it's the reason why I'm in this country.
Wow.
And now you ban your kids from watching TV.
They can watch TV. They just I just don't have
Your house,
the
your
news.
home is
Yeah.
communist.
How Detroit?
It is. I censor what they can watch.
So how of all places though, not like L.A. or New York?
This is what I asked my parents. My parents are immigrants, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you this. So my parents are immigrants. They came over in '79. They had me in '80. And, you know, there's all this United States. There's all of it. There's all this place you can move into. Like California, Florida, Miami. Beautiful places. Detroit. Detroit.
But they must have had somebody, though. Did they have somebody?
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is they had someone, they knew people here. So one person comes here and all of a sudden, there's Greek town. My dad's Greek, so all of a sudden he's working in Greek town. But why Detroit? Like, there's other Greek towns.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why did you end up coming here?
So I came as an au pair.
Okay.
I live in Nanny.
Okay.
And my host parents were from Brighton, Michigan.
Oh, got it.
So I ended up in Brighton, and then I met my husband in a bar 2 months later.
Yeah.
And then 2 months after that, we were married. So.
Whoa.
Wow.
So he was like, I'm
Wow.
scooping this up.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
awesome.
But you know when you know.
Yeah.
I was in a long relationship prior to that, and I always knew he's not the one.
Yeah.
And there was a way for me to get out of it. So
Got
I
it.
came to the U.S. One of the other reasons why I came to the U.S. And so when I met my husband, I just knew he's.
Well, you're
the-
happy here.
Yeah. Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's been 16 years now.
So let's go back to the business side of it.
Yes.
So EXP, obviously, a lot of people kind of dog it a little bit in our industry because it's kind of the people look at it, and I don't totally understand it, to be honest with you. I know that Mark does a really good job. I know Mark pretty well. I know his team. We had Zach Jones on here. He does an awesome job. But I don't totally understand the model. So talk to the audience a little bit about why EXP is different than, let's say, a KW or anything else that's in the market.
Yeah, so I can give you my reasonings of why I switched over. So one of the major reasonings, eventually when you get into your career, everything is, when you early on, you make emotional decisions. Then you go to the phase of making ego decision, and then eventually you start making real business decisions. But in
Right.
order to do that, you have to kind of understand and go through a lot and make a lot of mistakes.
You got to make
And
mistakes.
yeah. So when EXP came about, it truly, for me, there was three major reasons why I switched over. Most of them were numbers. So when you're making a business decision, try to remove your ego, try to remove friendship, because we also make friendship decisions. So I really had to sit down and make, okay, I'm a grown-up. I'm making a business decision. This is about money. I'm in the business of making money, not making friends.
Yeah, we're for profit.
Yeah, so I figured, okay, let's run the numbers. So the first and the largest reasons why I switched over with any brokerage any realtor is going to work with, you're going to have a cap. Well, actually, not all brokerages have a cap,
Right.
but you're going to have a cut, meaning you're going to pay 30% or 20% or 50% or 40%
Back to the house.
of your cut to the broker or to the team leader or rainmaker that you're going to work with.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was, so at real estate when I had a very, very good cut, it was a dollar amount versus a percentage for 12 transactions, and I was done for the year. So really nobody could touch me. So even when I switched to KW, I actually doubled my cap in order to go to KW with the understanding that I'm going to have profit share.
You had value for
Yes,
that cap. Yeah, there was
exactly. So I
value for
figure I'm
that.
like, okay, I can make money back. Well, with profit share, it's a little bit, it's hard to calculate. So it didn't turn out the way I was planning for. And then with the EXP model, after they explained it to me, it's very simple. Every agent has $16,000 cap. No matter if you're Mark Z or you GoGo or a brand new agent, everybody has a $16,000 cap at an 80-20 split. So let's say you have a $10,000 commission, you end up paying $2,000 to the company, it's an 80-20. When your $2,000 reaches 16, you're done for the year. You become an icon agent, which is you're at 100%.
Right.
Okay? So then while you're at 100%, you're no longer paying the 20% to the company. All you pay is $250 per transaction.
Transaction fee.
Yeah,
Right.
so you
Got
just
it.
pay a transaction fee. The 100% of the commission is yours. The cool part is, though it sounds all good, but the cool part here is then if you end up, so after the moment you icon, so you are at 100%, if you end up having an additional 20 transaction in the same fiscal year, or by your anniversary date, or you end up paying in $5,000 in fees, you end up getting all $16,000 back.
They
in
refund
stocks.
it to you?
Yes,
Oh,
all of
stock
it.
options.
In
I got it.
stocks.
So that's the
Yeah.
the funny thing
That's
about
awesome.
that's the funny thing about EXP is they offer a lot of stock options, and
Yeah.
I understand that. So you can actually build a portfolio of stocks, and you're actually invested. They want, which is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want you invested in the company. Now EXP is what you would call a cloud-based.
Yeah,
business,
so everything,
right?
so we don't have brick and mortar. Everybody, you are your own boss. You run your own business. If you want an office, rent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Mark he moved over. So it was a big move for Mark because he was at KW for a long, long time, and he went over to EXP. And I think when people saw that, people were like, oh, people took note of that.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, he went over to EXP. That was a big deal, and he seems to be thriving in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so. There's also a part of it where if you build a team, you also build residual income off that too, right?
Yes, yeah. So the first reason was the cap and cut.
Yeah.
I strongly recommend, I talk to so many agents daily, and they pretty much say that, well, I don't have a cap. I have it very good. It's only a 90-10. Well, if you're a top producer and you end up having 100 transactions, the average commission is $7,000. The 10% is 700 times 100. transactions.
So
you know what I mean?
it
Like
adds
we are
up.
talking, that's a lot of money if you actually do the math. So it really doesn't matter for small agents that do maybe, 2 to 5 transactions a year. But if you end up doing 50 to 100 or even more than that, then that adds up. So that was the one reason. The second reason is the revenue share. So that's where sponsoring agents to the company is what revenue share is.
Got it.
So everybody has a friend in real estate. If you love the company that you work with, you're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And eventually somebody says, you know what, I want what you have.
Right.
And that's pretty much how it happened. So I joined on November 1st of last year. So it's about, I think it's my 7th month now. Then I'm with the company. And now I have 54 agents in 36 states.
Wow.
So pretty much
So
everybody.
36 states.
Yeah.
Like we're not just talking locally. Like
No.
we're all over.
No,
Are
and
these-
I
are these
have
people that
now
reach out to
somebody
you, they're
joining
like,
from
go,
Canada.
They're like, go. I want to be
Really?
a part of this.
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
internet and in Canada too. You can do it in Canada. The
Yes,
XP
they
is-
have 4 private entities in Canada. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Oh, go ahead.
Is it safe to say that you've iconed already in your 7 months?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I'm
Figured.
pretty close to getting to mega icon, so getting my 16,000 back.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So someone's like sent me your numbers and they're like, well, how come your numbers aren't as high as probably they could be? So talk to me a little bit about
My
that.
production?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is, if to do the podcast and do all the lives and do all the traveling and to train my team, like every Wednesday at 1 o'clock we have a live class. Like today I'm running from here to there.
Right.
Every last Thursday of the month we have a mastermind. Every 2 weeks I'm out of state.
Right.
So in order to do all this, I have to feed out all my leads. So I don't work with buyers. I haven't, unless I personally know them. They're a very good friend of mine.
Right.
I will help them.
You
But
don't have the
even then,
bandwidth.
yeah, even then, I will. When you sign a contract with a buyer, you sign for their best interest. So if I'm 1 week, every 2 weeks out of state, how is that going to benefit them? They're going to miss out on a property they would fall in love
Right.
with. So on the buy side, I pretty much feed everything out to my buyer's agents.
Got it.
And when I feed my leads out, and that's why you don't see them in my production.
Yeah.
Now with having nationwide team, I also generate leads online and feed them to right now to 3 major locations where I have hubs of agents.
Got it.
So everything when I feed out, I don't keep the volume in the
course
transaction
not, yeah.
because
Right.
I don't want the liability, nor do I need the pat on the back. I just need a referral check.
That's like me, right? Like
So everything you
it's
see
like
in
us,
my
yeah.
name, everything you see that's my production, it's literally what I personally worked on.
Got it.
And
Got it.
and you know how it works. The more you do these kind of stuff, the less time you have to work.
Yeah.
So everything I do pretty much is on the listing side now. So we have about 4 listings every month. I did, I think, 43 transactions last year. And this year we're probably only going to get to like 30, 35.
But that's not
But
the
that's-
full scope of your
Yeah,
business,
but that's
right?
not, no.
It doesn't tell the
no,
whole story.
No,
which-
now I
right?
have 12 different streams of income. And,
Yeah.
and when you are able to replace something and you're not chasing that next commission,
Right.
I have different goals in real estate.
So this is the difference. I mean, this,
Genius.
this is like what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
So you either are going to be the business or you can build a business,
Right.
and have
Exactly.
a business, right? So you want to have a business. You don't want to be the business necessarily, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You have nothing. I went to Tony Robbins seminars and I learned a lot, especially at Business Mastery. If you ever have a chance to go to any of
I
his
heard it's good.
seminars,
Yeah,
it's
it's
amazing,
good.
life changing. So over there, I learned that in average, the millionaires have 7 different ways of income, and only for one they trade their own time. So I was like, oh, I make good money, but they were all in one basket.
All in my basket.
All in one basket, and it was all my time. So I
Yeah.
was chasing that next commission. You know what I mean? And so when I came back from there, I knew I need to figure out 7 different ways. Now I have 12. Because when I do something...
You're like, hey, let's just double it. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's almost everything on my Instagram you look at in my bio. There's that link. When you click at it, pretty much every single one of them, I have an ambassador program, so I make 10-20% of the sales.
You're super transparent. I like that. You're
Yeah.
just like, this is what it is. This is how it works.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have to pay the
Why
bills.
hide
You know,
it?
I have kids.
Yeah.
I have kids. We have to eat. We have bills to pay. I
Right.
mean, I'm not. And that's the one thing when you decide to do social media, you have to be transparent. It's gonna catch up with you.
Well, you have to be authentic and transparent.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
otherwise,
Put yourself out there, and
And that's the other thing. Like you will see, you were talking about, people look up my numbers. I'm like, you can look up my number. Like, what do I care what my production shows? I care what's in my bank account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they do use that against you with this whole EXP things. Like, well, everybody goes over to EXP and then, their production goes down. Well, would
There's a
you be
reason.
chasing the next transaction if you have thousands of dollars coming in from somewhere else?
Well, it's not that the transactions go down. It's what's the income that's happening in the income.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's like if I can figure out how to feed all the leads out, so my agents can also work. And if
Yeah.
I have enough on my plate to do already, then why should I add more and work
Right.
myself into a grave?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and ultimately, the business itself catches up to you. Like 2 years ago, right? Like to your question that you just asked, yeah, I'd be chasing the next commission because I
Yeah.
know I'm getting more, right? But at this point, I'm like burnt out to a degree, right?
Yeah,
I need to help
exactly.
build a business, and that's kind of where our mind sets have shifted to like, how can you replace yourself and teach everyone what you've done to grow your business.
Yeah, to multiply yourself, because eventually you're going to run out of time.
I'll give you an example of that. So, like Dan Gilbert just had a stroke recently. Someone goes, "Oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the company for Quicken Loans?" Right? And I said, Dan is a genius. Dan created 1,000 clones of himself, and they're all going to run the company just fine.
Yeah,
they're going to be just fine. If Dan never worked again, the company would still grow, and that's the beauty of it. If you create people around you that can sustain their own wealth, then you'll be fine.
Yeah,
right.
And that's the thing too. Like, I train now all the time. I coach. I have Go-Go's boot camp. Like, I video everything that I do, literally from how I build from the grounds with social media to how to work in your business, and then how to work on your business. To do all that, you can't do it all.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the strategy that you have in social media, because it's pretty good, right? You've used it for sure to create a really great brand. Talk to me how what your mentality is on that, what your system is, and what you think of how you should do it, and because there's a million ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about your strategy on that.
Well, my 2 cents on the subject is that I think where most agents go wrong is that they post the last house they listed, they post the closing they had, they post something generic.
It's not them.
It's not them, and you are your brand, you are your business. People decide to work with you. They want to work with you because of you, not because whoever your umbrella company is.
Yeah.
Before I switched over to eXp, I literally sent a text to my clients then, and I said, "Who's my broker?"
Right.
And most of them said you. And I was like, no.
No.
Negative. Some of them got it right, and some of them just responded and said, I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to work with you.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, as long as people start, or agents start realizing that they are their business and that they are their own brand, because people will call you. Like, they're like, "Hey, I wish you would be my realtor, but we are in North Carolina." And I'm like, no problem. I have a rockstar agent in North Carolina that can take care of you, and I'll only be a phone call away. So as soon as you realize you are your own business and you start feeling comfortable being on camera and putting your day out there, why do you think I do 15 million freaking videos every single day? It's because I want people to see that I am in the business of real estate. I want them to see my hustle. I want them to see that day after day after day after day I'm out there hustling.
You found a way to humanize yourself. I'll tell you a video that she posted one time, and she was at her kid's school, and there's somebody cut her off or yelled at her. She was in the parking lot, and she was like, "This motherfucker, he doesn't know who he's messing with. This guy just did blah 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 blah." It was so wrong. Right?
Oh, he made me so mad. I drop off my kids. So I work from 10 to 2. I drop him off every morning.
She was in her pajamas, by the way. She didn't give a shit.
Yeah, no makeup, looking kid. And so there's a drive-in loop. So I'm dropping them off, and I usually just I pulled up and I wait for them to get almost to the door, because there's no adult outside.
Right.
So I wait for them to get almost to the door, and then I'll take off. So this guy is on my ass the whole time. So I pull up. I'm like, I give him enough space to pass me if you're in a rush, because I'm going to wait for my kid to walk in.
Right.
And so he's just pulls up on my ass again. And I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. So I'm like, I pull up again. So let him go. And he's right on my ass again. And then he honks, gets his hands on it and just honks in the school parking lot. 8 o'clock drop off.
Yeah.
And then he does not a one-hand flip off, whatever that's called.
He went
double hit. I was like, oh, hell no. Wrong. Messing with the wrong
That's a great role model of it.
This is a dad that dropping off their kid.
So I was like, oh, hell no. So I put my car in parking. I get out of it, and it's a huge truck. I literally had to knock on the window because I'm 5'2". I couldn't even see.
You piece of shit.
I was like, open.
Do you
pull
know
it
who
down.
this is?
I'm like, pull the window down.
Did he pull it down?
Yeah.
He did?
And he was like, he didn't say a sound. I said, listen, I don't care if you don't love your child. I do. I said, I gave you plenty of opportunity to pass me if you're in such a rush. I pulled up 3 times. You decided not to.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to make sure that my child walks in safely. Now, you can do whatever you want, but don't you freaking flip me off ever.
Those drop-off
loops
are intense sometimes, man. I swear they could, if the TV producers out there, they could make a whole reality show.
Oh, that would be a whole reality show.
They're brutal sometimes.
Man, yeah.
So I'm happy that's the one that keep you coming.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I like this chick. She's because I like that, and that resonated with me, right?
Right.
So it just gives you an example of being real and raw. It does carry a lot of weight, right? By the way, she made a video yesterday. She was super jacked that she could say fuck on the she was like, so they said I could swear, and I'm so jacked about it.
Because there are sometimes, it's only the F where my husband's like, you can't say that in front of the kids. And in my 2 cents is now talking about being out there.
Yeah.
I earned it. I'm an adult. I can say whatever I want. I earned it. And my children has the right. I told them, as soon as you're 18, you can say every word you can think of, and I'll videotape it, and we can post it or do whatever you want. Until then, you're not allowed to say it.
That's fair.
Right?
But there are certain, there's just certain things that when you really, like, okay, 2 years ago when it came to taxes, I really got beep.
Yeah.
And I was like, give me another word. Give me one other word that you could say I got fucked with taxes 2 years ago. Like, I can't think of another word.
I mean, for that,
Man.
no, the taxes will fuck you.
Yeah. I literally, so I was like, okay, sometimes you just have to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I try to not. You know, I mean, on my live, unless somebody really pisses me off, I usually
We're currently
don't.
next in line.
Yeah. It's coming. Tax
So I
man.
was excited that you get to be yourself.
Tax man's getting ready to fuck us. So talk to me about GoGo's future. Where do you see yourself going now? I mean, now that you've built kind of a great brand, the funny thing about that is sometimes you get to a plateau and it's like, okay, what's next, right? Because you've already kind of built all that, right? And you're going to maintain that, and you're going to do great, and you're going to keep growing from that point of view. What's the evolution now?
And with the reality that literally the sky is the limit, right? Once
It
you've
is.
already gotten there, is it GoGo's clothing company,
Right.
right? Is it like something like that,
It
like
is,
an
yeah.
offshoot,
It could be
right?
anything.
Fragrance
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I
New
do
thing.
feel like you need to like put a little bit, like, even though I have 12 different streams of income, most of them are tied to real estate.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out a way of like, if this ship is sinking, which it will, because history always repeats itself. There's going to be a period here coming up soon for a year or two that, you know, we're not necessarily making a ton of money in real estate. So in order to not feel that when it hits, I do have to have eggs in other baskets. So my ideal goal is, when I decided to have a team and have it nationwide, it's also a responsibility. I owe to my team now to make sure I train them, make sure I give them the time of the day. I help them negotiate. I help them write contracts. I help them, you know, keep the positive attitude. I travel to them. I do GoGo's bootcamp seminars and things like that. So my goal is eventually just to be able to do all that. So to travel and help my team grow and get them to where I am, or maybe past me. Many of them are actually already past me, so that's exciting.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, you want to have a solid team, and talking about duplicating yourself. So I understand not everybody's going to do it through the power of social media. It's not for everybody.
That's not.
So that's not my goal. Every training video every day is something different. So every Wednesday, somebody who's really good at something in our team, or a vendor that we work with or something, teaches a class. So like today we have Peter on our team. Peter's actually, I sponsored Mike, and Mike sponsors Peter. Peter does cold calling. He's very, very good at it, and he does about 20 listings a month. He doesn't work them. He just gets the listings, lends them, and then feeds them out to other agents.
That's his thing.
Yeah, that's his thing. So he pretty much going to teach us his cold calling, what he says when he says it, how he gets over the no's, and then he's going to do a listing presentation.
Will you hire anybody, or are you selective?
Yes and no. I have two major questions to when they are interested in EXP. One is, are you self-motivated? Because I can lead you to the water, I can't make you drink.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if they're like, well, I can't make it, it's so hard. I'm like,
Negative,
I haven't
yeah.
seen you log in to any of our Zoom in the last 3 months. So you're not going to make it. So unless you literally schedule yourself, like if you see my schedule is down to the hour every single day.
I saw
from
you.
the,
showed me
from
your
the, I
calendar.
was like,
It
put yourself in
It
there.
looked like diarrhea. It was shit everywhere. Dude.
Exactly. So it's literally down to the hour. So self-motivated and tech savvy. If they
Yeah.
are neither or either, they're not going to make it.
They're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to you and it says, "Hey, GoGo, I want to work with you," what? I guess for them, what is the benefit of working on with your team?
Yeah. So the cool part is then I don't charge anything. Zero, zilch, nothing, nada, never. You don't owe me a cut.
Right.
So everybody works and builds their own empire. I'm just here to help them.
That's sweet.
That's
so they
pretty-
get
that's pretty
GoGo
much
for
it.
free.
Yeah, they get me
basically.
for free. My coaching, mentoring, everything for free for the rest of their lives. GoGo's Bootcamp that I created, it's free too. Not only the ones that I sponsor to the company, but everybody they bring to the company.
Yeah.
So the reason I created it is talking about multiplying yourself, because if I was to train every single one of them individually, there would be a lot of time I don't have already. So then I just created the videos, everything that I do from A to Z, literally log in, watch it on your own time, take your business to where you want to go, implement what works for you, don't do what you don't feel like comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Because I believe you have to feel comfortable. If you're awkward on camera, just don't do it. It's not gonna, it's not gonna help you.
It'll hurt you.
It will
So,
hurt
yeah,
you.
so,
it's just
yeah.
like you can't teach me to cold call.
Right.
Because not my thing. I believe everybody's blessed to work with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not going to beg you for your business. I just can't do it. It's against my religion. So that's not something you can, that's not something you could ever teach me. I just will, I will not feel comfortable making that phone call.
That's wild. The whole thing's good. So obviously you've got your Instagram, you've got Facebook. Are there any platforms that you stay away from? Is there is there any of the? I know Instagram is big for you, which we suck at. I suck at Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't even
So my
understand
Instagram
it.
is my Instagram is fed to my Facebook. So
Okay.
pretty much anything I do on Instagram, it automatically feeds to Facebook unless I remove it. There are just certain things you have to figure out the 3 platforms because they are different from each other. Like I can take a selfie photo, I can be beachside in my bathing suit on Instagram. I can't post that same photo to LinkedIn.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
They would be
Yeah,
like, "Whoa,
that doesn't make
what
sense.
is that chick doing?"
Right.
You know, what I mean, so it's like it's just totally different.
Although people
You
do
kinda have
it and
to-
it's awkward.
Oh, it's so
Super
awkward. I saw
awkward.
someone's nipples on a
Really?
LinkedIn photo, and I was like,
Nipples?
nipples. Like a
Like-
transparent, like lacy shirt. I
Can
was
you
like,
On LinkedIn?
forward you that one,
yeah.
yeah. So I was like, you just
And
can't do that on LinkedIn.
If anyone knows how the inbox looks like on LinkedIn, it was probably
Yeah.
blowing up with weirdos.
Exactly.
Yeah, like,
So
hey, girl.
yeah,
what are you
so it's
doing?
just the wrong dating
Yeah.
site, but it is kind of a dating site. I mean, at least lately, like you're so beautiful.
LinkedIn or
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. I got like
I don't
like, you
ever
need
get
to get
those.
it.
on
a
LinkedIn.
matchmaker reached out to me. I had a matchmaker reach out to me. She's like, "Hey, were you willing to be like I've got a match?" I'm like, "I'm not. I'm married. I'm good,
Yeah.
dude. I'm good." Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
very
there's
awkward.
there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So as soon as you figure out the 3 platforms, you can feed them to one another. LinkedIn would be on its own, so you can do that.
Yeah.
But you can feed your Facebook page to your Instagram page, so you're only posting once and it posts to both.
It's interesting. Can
Yeah.
you do it the other way? Can you do Facebook to Instagram?
I don't think so.
No,
No.
It's not the same thing. Interesting.
So
Okay.
all my stories then I do automatically post. I do it on Instagram and they automatically post to Facebook. And then the actual post I pick and choose.
Yeah. And would you agree that video is probably the best?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And being real and being in your own video, it's like, you know, you can do those property videos too. That's nice, but
They don't work.
nobody knows. You know, nobody's gonna have the patience to watch it all.
No, hey,
and
let's
that
go.
music,
Let's check out the bathroom.
I know, and that
We're
music
in the
puts me to sleep.
kitchen.
Well,
Yeah.
what type of value is it adding, other than just looking at a house that you listed?
Yeah, then
Right.
it'll go to Zillow
Yeah.
and look at.
Right.
And that's the other. I try to explain to people. I said, if you are not in your videos, if you are not in that photo when you're listing the home, if you are not on your yard sign, if you are not on your business card, you are your brand. Like, close your eyes, imagine Target. Can you imagine Target? Yes,
Yeah.
you can. Starbucks? Yeah. So as long as anybody closes their eyes and they see me and they know what I look like, that's
Right.
all I care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
mean,
matter,
I want to be top of mind. Like, what do you think I post a million times a day?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think you see every single one of my posts? Do you comment? Do you read what I say? No, you don't. Nobody does.
No.
That's not the point. The
Right.
point is to stay top of mind. So when
I might not
you're
even watch the
cruising-
whole
I see
thing,
it often,
but I
though.
see that you're
Right?
posting.
Yeah,
I probably see
exactly.
one out of every 4.
Yeah, so it's
Once
just
a day.
the reason I do that is just so I stay top of mind. So you don't have a chance to forget that I'm a realtor. So then one day when you are ready to buy or sell, you know who to call.
Yeah.
And also, in average, people are in the market for what? Every 7 years, I think, locally here for about 6 months. If all I do is post the next house, you're going to lose me as soon as you found your home.
Right.
Because then you're no longer in the market. You don't want to see what's on the market.
Yeah.
So you have to give them a reason to keep coming back.
I think the name helps too.
I mean, for sure.
bro, yeah, and the fact that she knows the angles. Like I don't know these angles. Like I'm like she's like.
Well,
I'm
forever
not
in
good
the
at it.
future
I want to
of,
see you try to do a duck face.
of
out
real
here.
estate, right? Or as long as we're in this business, we hear, oh, I worked with GoGo. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not too many others, right?
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
awesome.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope nobody.
Yeah.
I yet to meet a go-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. You took what you had and created a brand off of it.
Yeah.
Regardless, and everybody's got something. I always say that everybody has a superpower, right?
Yes.
And it might not be like this or that, but you can create a brand one way.
What's your superpower?
Sal doesn't do any social, but he's created a brand of being a really good loan officer, right? I mean, that's just who he is. He does a really good job. I decided to be chachi and get on camera all the time, so that's my
But
thing.
you
Which
love
has
it.
helped me.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like I always say I don't work. You know, don't get me wrong. Here's how my schedule
No,
is
you
full.
work, bro.
But I don't feel like I work. So I'm not rolling out of bed and be like, oh, I have to go show that house again. Or, oh, I have to write this contract. Or, oh, I have to talk to this agent. Or, oh, I don't feel like that. Like, I feel blessed. Like, every day I'm like, oh, my God, what am I doing tomorrow? Like, I'm going to this podcast and I have lunch with these 3 agents and then I have a live and then I have a meeting, a phone conversation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I pick up the kids and then
Yeah,
we have
you lo-
baseball and
yeah,
then,
you're
you
jacked
know what I mean?
about
So
it.
I'm like, I'm excited. It's like, it's not what I have to do, is what I get to do.
Right. That's
You
a
know
big
what I mean?
difference.
It's a huge difference. So
Right.
I love what I get to do, and when you love what you do, it comes true.
So, what would you tell someone that's starting out that wants to start doing the social thing? Where do you think they start? How do they start? And what's some advice that you give them?
Yeah, most of us like, well, I don't have anything going on. I'm brand new. What am I going to post about? Then post about what it takes to be a brand new realtor.
Right.
You
Talk
know?
about your story.
Post a hustle. Post to how long you
Yeah.
have to go to school. Post to how long it takes to go get your licensing. Where did you went, to take the exam? How hard it was. Like, I remember walking into the exam room and there was like people there for the 4th time, the 6th time, the 2nd time. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay, so it's not that easy. You know, most people think it's like anybody can be a realtor. Well, many people don't actually get through licensing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then after that, it's like, I remember the first time my very first client's like, I love the house. let's make an offer.
And you're like, what do I do?
Let's make an offer.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that?
Okay, yeah. Let's do that. Who are you going to call?
Yeah. I was like, I remember like you get through licensing, but they don't teach you the actual day to day.
You don't know how to do this.
You don't know the steps to the process.
Same thing in mortgages.
Yeah, same thing in mortgages.
Yeah, you don't know
I
the
guess it's
steps to the process. I remember
same thing
when they
like
were
every
like,
school, right? Unless
Really?
you're a surgeon, and
Yeah.
even then, it's like I gotta make
That's
that
why
cut.
school's bullshit.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
and
it's
I
like,
was like, oh my God. I remember when they said they want to make an offer. I was like, okay, now what? And after you have an offer, then
Right.
who do
I
you
think-
send it to and how?
I think everyone in this business can probably remember that moment. I remember the first loan I wrote. I was like, wait. Yes?
I remember looking at the purchase
You wanna-
agreement and there were like boxes in there.
You want to do a mortgage through me? You know, it was a super tough one too, and I didn't realize it. And I was like, college.
My first mortgage did not go well.
I don't remember my first.
I think
loan.
at my first month at Quicken, I think I wrote like 30 loans and like 15 of them closed. It's pretty bad.
That's really bad.
And
I
then
didn't know
also,
what I
I
was
think
doing.
that I think it's very important to don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, I
100%.
had no problem. I would knock on every door on the hallway until I got my answer. You know, I would call my broker 15
A lot
times
of people
until she
don't do
called me
that.
back.
In
Yeah.
every
Annoys the shit out of
organization that I think we could all say we've worked at, like the most annoying people get ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you
Like,
have to
man,
be. I mean,
get
it's not
away
going to
from
show
me.
up in your bank account. You know, I tell people, you know, your bank account, it is an ATM. You put time in, you take money out.
Yeah.
So if you don't put the time and the effort in and you ask the right questions, you ask it until you get the answer, you're not going to make it. That's why 80% of the realtors don't make it in the first year.
Yeah, they don't put it. Yeah, I agree. Like so, and so as a realtor, what do you tell your people? What does it take to be successful in real estate, in your opinion?
Oh, I think you have to have very tough skin.
Mm-hmm.
I just had an agent, and the way here I was talking to her, and she was telling me how she did these 2 transactions and rentals, and she never got paid. And I was like, "What do you mean you never got paid?" She's like, "Well, they just never actually sent me the check." And I'm like, "What?"
They didn't pay her.
No. And in my opinion, there's 2 things wrong with that. A, you gave up too early.
Yeah.
That would have never happened to me because I'll be right there,
Yeah,
and I'll be there with an
give me my
attorney.
money. Yeah, give me my money. I need my money.
Yeah, that's my money. I earned it. You owe
Yeah.
it to me. So I think you have to have very, very tough skin. They will push you over. They will chew you up. They will chew you in you when you're going to be out of business. That I think you have to be very, very driven. Because nobody's going to be there breathing down your neck. Make sure that you woke up, you brushed your teeth, you're ready to rock with the day, you made your calls, you show up at
It doesn't
listings,
just
you get your
happen.
clients. It doesn't just happen.
It doesn't just happen.
And then people are like, well, I made a post, but nothing happened. And
No.
I'm like, dude, I literally created a video because I've been hearing that so much lately. I sat down, I did the math. In average, I do between 11 and 14 posts a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
I did that for the
posts.
last 7 years. That's 38,826 posts or something like that.
That's a lot.
Out of that, I generated about $45 million worth of business. So if you divide the 45 million by 38,000 posts, that's about $34 a post.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's not that the one didn't bring me a commission. It's like overall.
It's the whole body.
It's
of
the
work.
over. Yeah. So
yeah.
that's my choice of like, I invested time because I also don't spend money on advertising. Everything I do is 100% organic. So I invested time with the understanding that eventually that's going to be a lead, but not like,
Yeah.
where's my lead?
Well, that's the problem with a lot of this stuff, and I mean, you've got to be consistent. You got to create content, and it's got to be consistent over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like for instance, we've been doing this show for 3 years. I mean, nobody listens still, I guess.
But we're consistent.
Yeah.
It is. There's no
We're
such a thing
consistent.
as overnight success. You know,
No.
you see like
No.
a star, you know, a singer or somebody who's like, oh my gosh, it's an overnight
But
success.
everybody thinks
Yeah,
it
but
just happened.
they've been singing since they were this
Right.
big. You know what I
Like,
mean?
you
Like,
just
they're
wake
so
up and start
lucky.
Yeah.
singing.
They don't see all the hard work, the sweat, the tears, all that stuff. None of that shows. Everybody just says like, "Oh my God, they're so successful. They must have got real lucky." There's no
Yeah.
luck.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
no luck.
There's some luck to it, but
Luck is bullshit. There's no such thing as luck. You create your own
situational luck.
luck. Like what?
Like you surround yourself by the right people, and those people rub off on you. But it's
That's not luck.
That's a choice too.
Yeah, that's
it's
not luck.
Yes.
Like I won the lottery. You were lucky. No, I played the lottery.
I bought a ticket.
Right. I bought a ticket. I put myself in a position to win.
Right.
That's why I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything such
And
thing as
I
luck.
also think it's mentality too. If you believe you can win, you win. If you
Yeah.
believe you can lose, you lose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you wake up every day and say I suck,
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
suck.
suck.
I hate my life. I hate my job. You're gonna suck and you're gonna hate your job.
And I think that almost everyone in their life has probably wanted something so bad that they've got it. Whether
Yeah.
that's just a raise at work, whether it's some guy who doesn't have a lot of money, really wanted that four-wheeler. He figured out how to get it.
Yeah.
He might have robbed Peter to pay Paul, but he figured it out, right?
Yeah.
And that's like whatever that goal you set, you can do.
Yeah, you got to get
internalize
after it.
it, yeah.
Okay, so Gogo, we do this thing called 3 questions on our show. So we ask you 3 absolutely random questions. One's always the same, and then the other 2 I just make up on the spot. So first question is, what scares Gogo?
Early death.
Early
Not-
death.
And not being able to like live my life out the fullest.
That's
I
pretty
have
fair.
so much music in me that I don't want to die with it in me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's super fair.
That's a first.
That's a first. Nobody's ever said death.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not scared of death itself.
Early death.
Early death.
I just don't want. I want to be able to have a long and
Full-
fulfilled life.
yeah.
And I have so much life in me and so much, desire to
Mm-hmm.
live it all out. Then I just hope that I'm granted the time.
I can see that. Okay. So if you were to be one animal in the animal kingdom for a month, what would it be and why?
Ooh. I would probably be a koala bear.
That's my wife's answer.
I've never heard
Really?
anybody say koala bear. Why a koala bear?
Because they're so mellow
Yeah.
They're soft.
and soft and cute and, or maybe even a sloth.
A sloth.
Because I live life so fast.
You would
You know,
just
I'm
shut-
always go,
be
go, go,
nice
go,
to
go,
slow
do, do,
down.
do. It would be
Yeah.
nice to be like, have you ever seen a sloth text on an iPad?
No. No.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a
it's
real
so-
thing?
I mean, they have nails. I don't know. if
No,
they
it's
work.
one of those memes when
Oh,
it
yeah.
says, this is how my parents text. And there's a sloth pushing the button.
They do move slow.
They are so slow.
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to like just kind of like, because I don't know how to slow down. I always want to
Yeah.
go. So it
Yeah.
would be cool to be forced into like that slow-mo.
Right.
We condition ourselves, right, to this life that we live every day.
Yeah.
And
And
we-
this is what I enjoy. If I have some time, slow time, I think too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
gotta
So I
So
be
you
can't-
right.
yeah.
overanalyze.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is too
Straight up.
hard, like, to go on vacation and be away. Like, I went to Europe a couple years ago, and it was like, I'm like looking for Wi-Fi. My friends are like, dude. I'm like, come
Just
on,
chill.
let's
Yeah.
go.
couple years
It's
ago,
hard.
dude.
It's hard to do.
You take a weekend trip now, and you're supposed to be like unplugged, and you're just blowing people
It's
out,
hard to be
emails and
unplugged.
texts,
Yeah.
man.
It's really hard
I'm
to
like,
unplug.
dude, go enjoy your vacation. Like,
But the problem for me is I do enjoy what I do. So I love being connected to my phone. I love having access to people and knowing what's going on in my little world, not in the news world. But so for me, turning it off, it is more of a stress than having it
Yeah.
on.
it is.
I think it's the management of when and how to do it.
Yeah. And
That's the
also
big
be able
thing,
to
right?
be manage your life with it. Don't let it take your life over.
You've got to be
Right.
able to put silos and put barriers
Yeah.
around
And the
really
biggest
important things.
realization I think someone who's starting to get really busy needs to know is like, it is okay if you don't call someone back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can
Or-
finish watching the movie or finish eating dinner and call them right after.
I
and
remember
Or better
one
yet,
time
it will
I
be
had,
okay.
It's okay if you don't answer that phone call right now and just shoot a quick text. I'll call you back.
Yeah.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. So if you woke up tomorrow morning with $1 billion in your bank account, what would you do?
She did that this morning.
Oh, what would I do? Not a billion.
$1 billion.
I would call Morgan Freeman to read me a book.
That'd be it.
That's a great
That'd be pretty good.
answer.
Yeah.
So that's how I would
book?
know.
Or
That's
would
how
you
I
children's
know.
story?
Morgan.
And this was really any book. I
Go
just
the
want to
fuck to
listen to.
sleep.
I just want to listen to
Yeah,
his
he
voice.
reads the book called Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Really?
It's
Really?
hilarious. It's a children's book.
Oh my gosh! So
It's
yeah,
hilarious.
I don't care what he reads for me. I just want him to read for me.
Hey, Morgan, I'm going to pay you $2 million. I want you to read this book to me.
Yeah, yeah.
All
So
right.
that's how I know I made it in life. Is I was just had this conversation with somebody, and he goes, "Well, then you need to get rich really fast," because he's like 83. I'm like, "Is he
Yeah.
really?"
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
he needs to
He's
like,
83.
yeah, he needs to stay alive for me for a little longer.
He's looked the same for the last 30
Yeah.
years, though.
He's
He's
great
looked
out of
83
nowhere.
for 30 years.
Yeah, that and then of course I want to like help. I am no walk in a park personality. So then everybody who put up with me through the years, like my parents and my sister and my childhood best friends and all that, I would
You're
want
going to pay
to
them
be,
for the grief?
Yeah. I would want them to understand why they had to put up
There you
with me
go.
through
It
the
worked out,
years.
guys. It worked out. Here's $1 million. I'm sorry for
Yeah,
everything.
like
Yeah.
I would love to be able to like help all my friends out so they can have a good life. Like
Yeah.
buy my sister a house big enough that they can host us for 6 weeks.
Would you
every
still do
summer.
real estate
I think I always be in the real estate industry.
with
I'm
$1
not
billion?
going anywhere. Yeah, because I can't sit still though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Maybe
I would
do-
want to be some
yeah.
sort of a public speaker, motivational speaker, something about the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do that, but that would be tied to how I got to where I'm at. So
Yeah.
it would be real estate related.
Perfect. So speaking of that, we didn't get to tariffs.
No,
They suck.
this would be an interesting one to go into politics with, but
Do they have with Go-Go?
yeah,
I know.
but we won't.
Yeah, we won't do
Go
that.
right at the end.
Yeah, I am.
This is not a political show. We're not going to go down that path.
Yeah, I'm a Trump fan though, so just put it out there.
There it is.
I like to freedom of speech, and I use it and abuse it. Thank you,
There
everybody
go.
who
That's
fought
fair.
for it.
That's fair. That's super fair. Listen, Gogo, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Obviously, it's been a great time. Tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, how they can find you. Give them your handle. Isn't that what they call it? The handle?
Yes.
The IG handle?
So pretty much, if you put in Gogo's Real Estate anywhere, you'll find me, or Gogo Bethke.
Bethke, right?
Yeah. And if-
Bethke.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if anybody interested about the Gogo's Bootcamp, that's gogosbootcamp.com.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's how they can get a hold of you. I said, hey, Gogo, how do I get a hold of you? She's like, Instagram. Send me a message. I'm like,
Yeah, Paul came up to me and was like,
how do I?
Yeah.
What do I?
How do I send a message?
Paul
As
and
much,
old man.
as much as I do like social, I'm
Instagram?
so bad at Instagram. I
Yeah,
mean,
and then
I'm on it.
also, I forgot to mention this, but on Tuesdays, Mark and I, starting on June 11th, so in
Okay.
2 weeks, Mark and I are going to hold a class.
Okay.
So I'm going to pretty much break down the whole social media one class at a time. So it's going to be a 12-week series.
Okay.
I'm going to, let's say if I talk about how to generate listings through the power of KV Core and social media and all that, then Mark's going to probably do a listing presentation.
Got it.
So then the agents can come. That's going to be in Novine every Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
And you were featured in Real Producers Magazine.
Yeah,
They did
last
a
month.
really big spread. They do
Yeah.
such a good job. Those
They
guys.
do.
Yeah,
They do. And their writer was amazing.
Yeah, They do a really good
Their whole
job.
team's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
Producers, they do a really, anybody that isn't part of that community, like they do an awesome job. So, Gogo, thank you so much for being on the show. Loved it.
Thank you.
It's been
Thank you
fun.
for having me.
That's it. It's over. We're done, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. What were we going to say?
Nothing. I was going to make a dirty joke about. Never mind.
Well, we would say it.
Play the outro.
No, say the dirty joke. He took his headphones off. He's done. All right, everyone.
It's a wrap.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me. You did good.